I spent 723 Canadian dollars. What did I buy? And is this $90 gin worth the price? Let's find out together. Welcome investors. I am your liquid asset manager. A new round of deal has begun at LCBO. I spent 720 Canadian dollars for a total 16 bottles. Make sure you check out my last video on first person shopping guide. And again, we will divide them into common stock and preferred stock. Just to quick recap, common stock are the bottles that are very common, readily available everywhere, and frequently used in cocktails. Preferred stocks are the stocks that are preferred by certain group of people. They have its own unique flavors, or they are either rare or limited. And there are 3 bottles that are unknown to me, and let's evaluate them together in this report. Let's start with common stocks first. Here we have a Stoneleigh Latitude from New Zealand. This is a bottle found from the vintage section. It's more premium at $20. I bought this because I heard it has a very fruity and aromatic flavors, and it's on sale as well. This is the Sauvignon Blanc white wine. I am not going to open today, it's a wine, so you don't have to buy it. And the next one is a Dolin Dry Vermouth. This is a fortified wine. It's a very classic French vermouth. Everything here is on sale except this one. I bought it because I'm running out of Dolin Dry Vermouth, so I just bought a new one. This is a very classic French vermouth that is essential in your portfolio, especially for a martini. So I'm not going to open it. Again, it will oxidize when it's open, so we will leave it for next time. Next one, we have St-Germain Elderflower Liqueur. This is an iconic French elderflower liqueur. Its unique floral taste has gained a wide popularity around the world. You can also find elderflower syrup. It has a nickname called bartender's ketchup. If you are creating new recipes and you feel your cocktail is missing something, most bartenders add this, and it works very well, just like ketchup in food. Let's give it a taste. The aroma is very sweet, fruity. It has the lychee flavor, very delicate and beautiful, refreshing. It's definitely very sweet, but not overly sweet. The palate is very light, refreshing, not super syrupy. It has those floral notes, lychee flavor, and a little bit like apple or pear and melon. Very delicious fruitiness. The finish is also very clean. So who is this for? Like I mentioned earlier, this is bartender's ketchup. It's not necessarily a secret weapon, but definitely a very essential liqueur for your portfolio. The liqueur itself have sufficient richness that you can even sip on itself. Just add like soda water, making it like a flavor soda. That works too. So if you are looking for something sophisticated, fruity, at the same time refreshing, this is a blue chip common stock to own in your holdings. Cheers. Next one we have here is Kahlua coffee liqueur. Originated in Mexico around 1936, I believe. It has gained worldwide popularity as well. It uses rum and spice. It's widely accepted as your go-to coffee liqueur. And let's give it a try. On the nose, you get nutty flavor instead of the liqueur sweetness. It's like roasted coffee bean as well as walnut. And after that, you get the sweetness, a hint of caramel and vanilla. Smells like a coffee dessert. The palate is pretty thick and syrupy. You don't get tons of coffee flavors. It's more like nutty flavor at the beginning. The finish is pretty warm, and you have the coffee aroma again lingering in your mouth, lasting pretty long. But I do think it is pretty sweet compared to some other coffee liqueurs I've tried. Who is this for? This is an essential stock for your cocktail recipes like White Russian, Black Russian, or Espresso Martini, I don't think you can sip on neat compared to this one. It's more a mixer. I will say this is a common stock you own in your portfolio if you are really a coffee lover. If you are not a coffee lover, this is optional for you. Or you can get a small bottle just to try it out. Okay, next one we have here is Disaronno Amaretto. Amaretto is a classic Italian liqueur, and this brand, this recipe can date back to 1525, almost 500 years. First, let's not get confused with Amaro. Amaro is a Italian herbal bittersweet liqueur. This Amaretto is a almond flavored herbal liqueur, but it doesn't really have any almonds in it. It's made from the apricot stones. Now, the iconic bottle shape has been a staple fixture in the bar around the world, and this is the most famous Amaretto, I would say, mostly because of its history and well-refined flavor. Let's give it a try. Oh, it's actually plastic. Well, first thing you smell is the almond. It feels like almond milk, actually. Pretty creamy, pretty sweet, a hint of fruitiness at the end. The palate is smooth and warm. The primary flavor here is definitely a sweet and creamy almond. The finish is pretty short. It's not overly sweet. If you compare this one with Kahlua, this is overly sweet that you can't really taste coffee beans in here. This is pretty balanced with all the creamy sweetness and almond nuttiness. Very light, very clean. This one is at 28% ABV. Disaronno is perfect for anyone who loves sweet and nutty flavor. Also good for sipping neat. In cocktails, you have famous Amaretto sour. You can surprise your guests with a bar spoon of Amaretto added in your old-fashioned. I've tried that. Very good. I will rate this as a long-term common stock. It's a must-have investment, especially given its history. Last preferred stock here, we have Eldorado 5 years. It is an aged rum. Again, we covered about Eldorado in our last trading report that Eldorado 12 was on sale last month at LCBO. This month it's the 5 year it's on sale, so I bought it. This rum was from the Demerara distillers in Guyana. What makes this iconic or unique is the distiller still uses the wooden stills from 200 years ago. Now let's give it a try. On the nose, you do get a little bit sweetness, classic sugarcane flavor. Compared to aged rum with more years, like 8 years or 12 years, this one is more alcoholic, which means that the smell is pretty sharp. After that alcoholic flavor, then you get a little bit very light brown sugar and fruitiness. Well, you definitely can smell it's a very young rum. It's surprisingly smooth given the age. On the smell, you get very alcoholic sharpness, but the palate, you doesn't get that much alcoholic sharpness here. Just a little bit sugarcane flavor, a little bit brown sugar, vanilla. The finish is medium. You do get spices. It's pretty clean and light, not a bad one. So who is this for? In my view, this is still a mixing rum, usually used in cocktails. At the price of $32 when it's on sale, this is definitely a good value, a big upgrade from Havana Club 3 years, which is selling at $31 without discount. So with $1 more, you get more flavors. But again, I would rate this as an optional common stock. Nice to have, but not necessary. Okay, so now let's do a quick summary on all the stocks we buy today. From here, we have Eldorado 5 years rum. It's a premium mixing rum for cocktails. Offers more depth in flavor, but not deep enough to be considered to work in an old-fashioned. Disaronno, a true classic Italian Amaretto, very delicious almond flavor, well balanced. This is a classic and a must-have for your portfolio. Stoneleigh's Latitude, Sauvignon Blanc, premium white wine. You don't need to get it, I get it because it's on sale. Dolin Dry Vermouth, true classic French vermouth that you keep in your holdings. Kahlua, your go-to coffee liqueur if you are a coffee lover, and optional for people who doesn't like coffee. St-Germain, that is an essential blue chip stock that you must have in your holdings.
Alright, and now let's get into preferred stocks. We have a lot to unpack today. Let's first start with Drumshanbo Gunpowder Irish Gin. This is an Irish gin made from a very small rural area called Drumshanbo in Ireland. This is also very famous around the world, and the name Gunpowder Irish Gin comes from one of its unique ingredients, which is the Chinese gunpowder green tea, together with local herbs and citrus. And let's taste and discuss together. Now for the aroma, it's definitely very unique compared to all other gins, especially London dry gins. It's very vibrant. There is a very crisp, unique herbal flavor, and that must be the gunpowder tea. And then you get a lot of citrus like grapefruit and lemon. You do get juniper, but super light that you won't really notice it. Very interesting combination of flavors here. The palette starts with a ton of citrus flavor, grapefruit, some lemon, and a hint of juniper. Then get dominated by gunpowder tea's flavor. If you haven't tried gunpowder tea, it's a green tea, but unlike the regular green tea, it's more herbal-like rather than tea-like. The mid to finish, you do get lots of warmth and spices here. There's a little bit bitterness in here. Overall, the tea flavor doesn't really dominate. I think it's pretty balanced between citrus flavor, tea flavor, and spices. Juniper flavor, on the other hand, is pretty subtle. So, who is this for? I will say this gin is for people who want to explore the gin world or the new Western dry style gin. And given it has the Chinese tea in it, you get both Western and Eastern vibe in here together. Interesting combination of flavors, and it's perfect for someone who are looking for something unusual. This is not an essential preferred stock. This is more for exploration and people who have specific investment targets and needs. Cheers! And next one we have here is Roku Gin from Japan. The distillery is Suntory. This is the same distillery that makes the famous Hibiki whiskey. Roku in Japanese means 6, and there are 6 botanicals in it, sourced from local Japanese plants like cherry blossom, yuzu, local teas, and spices. At a sales price of $50. This is a pretty good value because I know certain regions in the world, they have no access to local gin. On the glass, they imprinted the unique botanicals they use here. Very sophisticated and detailed bottle. Let's now open it up and try it out. On the nose, very bright and juniper forward, small hint of citrus, and a lot of floral sweetness. There is also some tea flavors underneath it, but it smells very different from the gunpowder tea here. Very balanced and enjoyable smell. Initially, you get a lot of citrus, fruitiness, juniper flavors, and floral notes. After about 2 seconds, there is a burst of peppery and spiciness that dominates your mouth, which gives it a very interesting contrast. Because for your initial sip, you get a very peaceful, bright, and balanced floral and citrus sweetness. And right after 2-second mark, I think, or maybe 1-second mark, there is a burst of that spiciness kicks in, but it doesn't overpower the flavor. It vanishes pretty quickly. The finish is medium to long, crisp and clean, and you get those floral notes again lingering in your mouth for a pretty long time. Very unique taste here. So who is this bottle for? I would say this is suitable for people who loves a nuanced and subtle gin with less juniper, because the overall taste for Roku gin is pretty light. This is not an essential preferred stock, more for exploration, and gin lovers have specific investment targets and needs. If you want to explore, especially if you are looking to try a light, clean, but also balanced and flavorful gin, this will be a good pick for you. Alright, so next one we have here is Espolon Anejo. If you followed my last two reports, you will know that I bought a Blanco that was on sale 2 months ago, and a Reposado that was on sale last month, and this month this Añejo is on sale. Very interesting. I'm not sure if LCBO did this on purpose. This Añejo is an aged tequila that is aged in oak barrel for more than a year. Of course, it doesn't say how long it has been aged, so I would just assume it is 1 year. As I said in earlier report, Espolon offers the best value to taste compared to other brands. This Añejo is at $52.35 on sale. Most Añejos on the market cost like $80, even $100. And now let's have a taste to find out. Well, on the nose, first you get is a very bright fruity sweetness. It actually feels like a light aged rum. You do get this classic cooked agave, very rich in caramel and vanilla. The earthiness you get in Blanco is reduced. It smells very warm and complex. The palate is smooth and velvety. You get those fruity sweetness here instead of earthy or herbal sweetness, followed by some baking spices, expected because it's been aged in oak barrel. The finish is long and warm. There is a very rich sweetness lingering in your mouth, but it's not overpowering, yet very clean. So who is this for? Now, this is not the best Añejo I've tasted so far, but this is definitely the best Añejo you can buy without spending a ton of fortune. Recently, I read some articles about certain tequila distillers. They put additives in their drink, especially in their aged drink, to make it taste better. They added about like 1%, so that legally speaking, you don't have to state it on the bottle. But that 1% did make a lot difference for sure. So I don't know if this one have additive into it, but to me, based on the taste, it does not really have. Otherwise, it should taste like that Pacific brand I tasted, which have a burst of interesting flavor here. I'm not going to name it. If we are looking for a high quality tequila to start with, this one at $52 is the best option. The complexity here is enough to do a tequila old-fashioned. So I would say this would be a baseline for your holdings. Very decent pick when it's on sale. Cheers. All right, next one we have here is, here. St-Rémy Cask Finish Collection in Calvados casks. And it says here it is a limited edition with only 12,850 bottles sold worldwide. I bought it because it was on a clearance. I think what it tells is that it's not very popular, or at least the value doesn't stand with its actual quality. So although it's a limited bottle, it is not that popular and rare. and LCBO somehow decide to liquidate it. This is a Calvados, by the way. St-Rémy made a lot of cask finish collection, some finished in bourbon cask, some finished in wine cask, and this one finished in Calvados casks. I bought it because it's on liquidation with $41.75 and the original market price was $54. $12 cheaper. I'm not going to open it today because it's a limited edition, although it seems to not as popular as those limited whiskey, especially bourbon and Scotch. I'm going to keep it as a collection in my shelf, and maybe one day I will find an occasion to open it up and to see why this limited edition is not popular at all. We have two Scotch. We will start with this Highland Park, 12 years old, single malt whiskey, and like its name, this whiskey is from Highland region. What makes this Highland Park famous and unique is because of it has Viking heritage in here, as well as this is a peated whiskey. Highland Park, I would say, is one of the Scotch that you should have in your holdings if you are a whiskey lover. Also, my first time really have a hold of this bottle because it's the first time it's on sale. Distillery of Highland Park can date back to 1798, also a very old historical distillery. The smell is super delicious. It has more fruity and honey notes together with the peatiness here, which makes this very distinctive compared to other Scotch. And you get a little bit floral and earthy notes after. Smell is very balanced. You get all kinds of flavors dancing around, but neither of them would overpower with the other. So let's now have a taste. The taste is very smooth as expected. Sweetness like honey and a hint of citrus, followed by some dry fruits and baking spices, and after that the peat smokiness comes out. The finish is definitely long. You get a very gentle spiciness, sweetness, and peatiness lingering in your mouth together. A very rounded and delicious. So who is this bottle for? As I mentioned earlier, this is an essential bottle to hold if you are a whiskey lover, and the reason is its signature fruity honeyness and peatiness that you don't really get in other whiskeys. This is a fantastic Scotch to drink on neat. Not an entry level, but more advanced level drinkers, a must-have in your portfolio. Cheers!
So next one we have is Glenmorangie 12 years Highland single malt whiskey. This is an original version, and it says in the bottle it's aged in bourbon casks. There are some other versions that age in sherry casks or other special casks. This one is the original one. On sale at $74, pretty cheap. Both whiskey here are from Highland today. The distillery can date back to 1843, founded by William Madison. This distillery is famous for two things. First, it has an exclusive access to Charlotte Spring. I'm not sure if I pronounced this name right, but it's a decent water source. And secondly, it has the tallest still in the country. Very interesting. And let's open it up and check it out. The flavor, it has a very strong vanilla notes at first. A little bit fruity citrus, followed by some honey. This is not a peated whiskey, by the way. It smells pretty fresh and clean. The palate, it is smooth but silky. You get that creamy vanilla, honey, and a little bit floral notes. And after that, the spices kicks in. The finish is medium to long because there's no peat. You don't get a very long-lasting smoky flavor. It's also very light, meaning it's pretty easy to sip. A very good one too. So who is this bottle for? I think this is suitable for people who want to explore Highland but does not love peat. Because the body is pretty light, it provides a very good sipping experience. I would rate this as an optional preferred stock. Nice to have if you want to collect. Otherwise, you can just wait and get this bottle when it's on sale like me. Or you can just completely kick it out of your portfolio. This original version is not super unique enough to become a must-have in your portfolio. Okay, so now we have 3 bottles that are unknown to me and we will rate together. First one is this Unicum bitters. I'm not sure if this is the correct way to pronounce it. I did some research. This is an original family recipe dated back to 1790. Also stated on the neck of this bottle. It is a very famous Hungarian liqueur. I have no information about it. I only bought this because it's on sale and I'm just curious to explore something new. It's made from 40 and more herbs and botanicals. So it seems to me it's very similar to an Italian Amaro, which made by herbs and spices, but of course there are definitely differences here. So let's take on this journey together. Wow. Color is pretty dark. I think it's actually darker than most Italian Amaros. It smells very medicinal. I don't think you smell a lot of sweetness here. Ingredients, we have water, alcohol, sugars, herbs. I think I got a little bit like a wormwood flavor. And I can smell the bitterness. So I imagine this is a super bitter one. Let's give it a try. Whoa! Whoa! If we are going to rate the bitterness from 1 to 5, a typical Amaro probably around 2 to 3. This one, your first sip is about 2, and your mid palate 3 to 4, and the back palate is like 5. So it's like incremental bitterness here. Wow, I am surprised. Very pungent, bitter herbal flavor. It's like you are eating some herbal medicine here. The sweetness is very low, making the finish very long and dry, and this bitterness was lingering in your mouth for a very long time. Very interesting. So this one actually reminds me of Fernet Branca. Fernet is also a very bitter herbal liqueur that is not sweet but more bitter and medicinal taste. It's very similar to Fernet. Of course, it has its own uniqueness in here. Based on my findings, it was traditionally served as a digestive that you drink after the dinner or meal, which is same as other Amaro. I will say this is a very unique one. So who is this bottle for? I will say people who are curious about herbal liqueurs in general, like me, and just want to explore different kinds of liqueurs. If you enjoy Fernet Branca, I would say you probably will love this. This will be a very interesting flavor to add a backbone for your cocktail because the finish is long lasting here. So definitely a preferred stock, not essential, but more advanced preferred stock to own. I like it. Cheers. Okay, so next one here is Hendrick Oasium. I think I pronounced this name correct. Hendrick had its signature cucumber and floral notes. Oasium is this year's special release. The master distiller of Hendrick's, Leslie Gracie, she's very curious and very talented to explore all kinds of flavors. So each year, or almost every year, Hendrick will release a special type of gin called Cabinet of Curiosity, where she puts some unusual or botanicals into the gin. Now, a few years ago, I tried one of its special release, Flora Adora. You probably can tell from its name, like it's floral one. I didn't really get a very good experience because I think that floral flavor overpowers all other flavors. So I didn't really like it. Actually, I hesitated, but then I looked on internet for like 20 minutes. People have a very good ratings on that. So now it's the moment of choose. It's very fruity. It has tropical fruits. It has a flavor of guava. If you don't know, guava is a tropical fruit. Tastes like a combination of apple, pear, and berries. Very interesting and very unique fruit. Interesting. But I don't think guava grows in deserts. Does it? A lot of fruity notes. Very light, a little bit floral. But the aroma is very pleasing and inviting at the same time. Very smooth. I got a very little juniper here. I will say this is a very juicy. You get tropical fruits. Again, this guava, very light, refreshing. A little bit grapefruit and blood orange. Very complex and vivid. You also get a little bit bitterness in here. The finish is long, very clean and light. Well balanced. Oh, I love it. I love it. Based on the taste, I think it's more tropical vibe that connects to the sea instead of oasis in a desert. You know, to me, it's more tropical rather than in the middle of nowhere in the desert. So, who is this bottle for? It's definitely a preferred stock. Not only the flavor is unique, this is also a limited version. If you are a gin lover and an explorer, I would say this is a must try. And if you are a fan of Hendrick's gin and love to collect all their lineup, this is a bottle I think it will not devaluate. Very good one. I think I can get a second bottle. Cheers. Alright, last one and the star of today's show is the Island of Pirates. This bottle is at a whopping $90 before sale, which is more expensive than the Scotch here. This comes from the remote outer Herbal of Highland. And if you are familiar with Scotch, you know that in the region of Highland, there is a sub-area called Island. And this is one of the islands called Harris. It is at 45% ABV and it says it's infused with sugar kelp, which I have no idea what that is. I mean, I eat kelp before, but I don't know if sugar kelp and kelp they are related or they are two different things. I look at pictures online, looks to me they are actually the same stuff, like a seaweed. It's more expensive than my whiskey, and I want to know why. So I bought it. The bottle is actually very beautiful. It has very beautiful wave pattern. I think that reminds me of those sea waves. There's also like small grip, I think. You can definitely hold your bottle pretty easily here. It's a very beautiful blue at the bottom. You look straight like this, light blue but mostly clear. But if you turn your bottle like this way, you will see beautiful blue here. That is the most beautiful bottle I've seen so far. And I'm pretty sure part of your price pays for this design. And now let's taste it together to see whether it really worth the hype. I'm very nervous right now because this is a very risky $90 investment. You get juniper, it's very juniper forward, citrusy. I never smelled sugar kelp, but I don't think I smelled any unique aroma. A little bit herbal flavor. You do get a little bit heavy aroma. It's very hard to describe. For example, juniper, citrus flavor, or even floral flavors, they are very light. For this one, underneath these very light aromas, there's a little bit heavy aroma. Maybe that's kelp. I don't know, or maybe there's something else, but the smell is pretty pleasing for sure. It's probably a new Western style gin as well. Not bad, not bad. The first thing you get is very crisp and smooth, strong juniper forward with citrusy notes, and then more flavors comes in. Let me try again. It's a very pleasing floral aroma, and you get a little bit savory or saltiness here. The mid palate is pretty rich, some herbal flavors here. Mid to finish and the back palate, you get lots of spices and peppery warmth. It has multiple layers of flavors kicking in. Definitely an oceanic vibe here. You get slightly salty notes, some herbal freshness. The finish is long, clean, also very dry. So now if you ask, is it worth the price? I would say not really. It's probably expensive because of the sugar kelp material they use and how they harvested it. I would say this is a decent pick, but definitely not really worth the price for a $90 gin. But if we are going to compare with all other gins we invested, I would say it tastes just as complex as these ones. So yes, it is complex enough to be a high-end preferred stock. I'm not going to stop you from buying it because this has very unique oceanic flavor. Probably that is why it has a place in the market too, but not for everyone. Cheers! Okay, and here we have Highland Park 12 years. This is an essential preferred stock if you are a whiskey lover and want to explore Highland. Very unique and balanced flavor between fruitiness and peatiness. Glenmorangie 12. This original version is a good Highland whiskey, but optional for you to keep in your holdings. Not necessarily the best one for this distillery. St-Rémy Cask Finish Collections. It's on liquidation sale, so if you want to spend $40 to collect it for a brandy, that is a pretty okay price. Roku Gin, a gin that offers very unique Japanese flavors, floral, citrusy, at the same time very peppery, a good preferred stock. Gunpowder Irish Gin, also a pretty famous and well-known tea-flavored gin, offers enough complexity and depth. Espolon Anejo. This is a nail that offers the best value on the market. At $57 price point, you cannot get any other Añejo that offers the complexity and depth of flavor like this. This is a must-have and also a baseline or a reference for your Añejo. Zawak, Unicum Bellers, very unique and interesting flavor. If you are a sophisticated investor, this is a bottle that you can invest for long term. Hendrick, this is also a preferred stock that if you are a gin lover, you should go get it and consider its limited edition. This is the bottle that the value will not depreciate to hold for a long term. And lastly, we have this Isle of Harris, very unique oceanic vibe, complex enough, but given its price, I feel it's a little bit overvalued. But given its ingredient, I don't think this bottle will even devalue it. If you are a gin lover and explorer and curious to try out all the flavors, this is the one to go to. But for me, this is an optional preferred stock for you to hold. Alright, before we wrap up for today, I have one common stock that is left. I haven't talked about it, which is Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. Fireball Whiskey originated in Canada back in mid-80s. It's not really a whiskey, it's more like a whiskey liqueur. This is a go-to party shot, and that's why I leave at the end. And this is on sale. This whole box is like $10. Pretty cheap. And these, small bottles are easy to use in party, right? You just open one bottle, pour in your drink, and have fun. Each bottle is 50 ml, but again, I'm not going to drink all the bottle. I'm just going to drink half shot today. Drink responsibly. It's at 33% ABV. Let's give it a try. There's nothing really to talk about it. So Fireball, and I hope you enjoyed today's video and find something useful. If you like my video, make sure you like and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much. And if you have some feedback for our liquor portfolio, leave a comment and I will for sure to add on our next trading day. Alright, cheers! This is very sweet.